Hello and welcome to another Sprues and Brews unboxing. Today we're looking at the latest army set for Warhammer 40,000 Deathwing Assault. So first of all I want to say a massive thanks to Games Workshop for sending us a free early review copy to check out on the site a little ahead of time. In this video we're going to be having a look at the Deathwing Assault set, seeing what models are included inside it, seeing how the models go together. We'll take a look through the Dark Angels Codex, and at the end of the video I'm hoping to have some of these built and painted and see what they look like compared to some other models in the range. Also in this box it's worth pointing out there's a Dark Angels upgrade sprue as well, so what I'll be doing is going through my collection and seeing if we can Ravenwing and Darkwing some models up for those. But yeah, if you've not come across this before, this is the Deathwing box for the Dark Angels, basically containing together a load of the new models, not all of the new models, but a load of the new models that are coming out for the Dark Angels, along with the limited edition Codex and some upgrade frames that basically replace some of the old Dark Angels frames that we got. If we spin this over, you can see it's quite a jam-packed box. You get 2 frames of Terminators, which I believe is the standard Terminator sprue, but then you also get 2 Dark Angels upgrade frames, which contain some new bits for the Terminators, such as Dark Angels heraldry on them. You've an option for a plasma cannon on the squad as well. And in addition there's some other bits on there like Ravenwing parts and bits that you can use on your Primaris Marines as well, so hopefully there's lots of goodies in there to let you do a nice themed Dark Angels army. You also get a sprue of the brand new Deathwing Knights, so again all these replace those old classic Dark Angels models that we got. They're a lot bigger, obviously they're in line with the current Terminator models too, so they look really cool. We'll be building those up, and then finally you also get a new model for Belial as well, who looks absolutely awesome, and I believe he's got the option for giving him a helmet or his hooded head as well, so that'll be really fun. And as we dig into the book we get the limited edition Codex, and it looks like there's a transfer sheet and a load of data cards as well, which is cool. Hopefully that is cards for the whole army. They tend to put the whole lot in these boxes now, where back in the day these battle boxes tend to just have the models that are in the box. Now you get the whole set, so that's really, really cool. So yeah, it should be a fun video, so let's crack this open and have a look at what we get inside. So if we take the sleeve off it, again the presentation of these boxes is really nice as well. So crack that open and we'll see the absolute stack of plastic that's in here. So straight away you can see it's quite a jam-packed box full of stuff. So let's have a look. First of all we've got 2 Dark Angels upgrade frames. So these are both the same, and it looks like they contain a load of parts for Ravenwing, Deathwing, just your normal Dark Angels. Some really nice parts on there as well, like alternate parts for the Terminator kit. Also get some different shoulder pads on there. The biggie is probably that big plasma cannon as well that the Terminators can be equipped with. There's a Watcher in the Dark down there. Lots of kind of books. These look like shoulder pads that will go on just normal Space Marines as well. And again a few little like Ravenwing kind of tail fins for your bikes and stuff. There's a load of new heads on here too, which should allow you to do some more kind of hooded Dark Angel style. Yeah, there's really, really nice stuff there. So while we're not getting too many new kits, obviously we're getting the contents of this box, plus the companions I think they're called, they're basically redeemed, aren't they? This sprue will allow you to Dark Angels up the rest of your army, which is a pretty nice touch. So we get those in there. We also get the new Belial model. So let's have a look at him next. He looks really, really cool. So one thing they've done with, I guess, primarising old characters is, in a lot of cases, they've kept like the identity and the feel of the model and just updated it, scaled it up, used some more kind of like modern sculpting techniques to make it look really nice. I've got to say Belial looks really, really cool. I'm really looking forward to painting these up. I painted the Lion last year when he came out, and I've been just waiting for these new kits to come out so I can update them. Obviously those old, the old Terminators and the old kits in the range are a little bit old now, so having these big chunky new ones is a really nice touch. So that's Belial, he looks cool. We then have the Knights. So let's have a look at the Deathwing Knight sprue. Again, this completely replaces that old one that we saw. It was a few years ago now that came out, and it was a good kit at the time, but obviously it's a little bit small now compared to current Terminators. So they've taken the advantage to update this one. It's something that I think we'll probably see with other Space Marine chapters too, like Sanguinary Guard. It wouldn't surprise me if they get a new kit that is basically just called Sanguinary Guard, but scale-wise they're on par with the, Primaris Marines. You get a lot of parts on this kit too. Obviously it only builds 5 guys, but it looks like you've got quite a few options here. There's 4 shields on here, 2 shields on the other sprue. Looks like there's a range of different weapon items. Obviously we'll get to going through the Codex later on in the book, so we'll see if there's different weapon loadouts or they just count as the same. But there's certainly going to be lots of bits here as well left over that you can potentially use to customise your other models too, so that's pretty cool between these 2 kits plus the upgrade frame. Already I'm seeing a few spare Terminator shoulder pads, so if you've maybe got a spare sprue of Terminators from the Leviathan box, which I do, you might be able to make this kit go a little bit further as well and use it to upgrade some of them. So that's really cool. And then the rest of the kit is 2 sets of the new Terminators. So these are multi-part Terminators, I believe, in the same kind of style as those ones from the Leviathan launch box. And again, they look really, really cool. I'm really looking forward to building a whole Deathwing force. So obviously with the spare sprues that I've got from Leviathan, I should have enough Terminators to pad out a pretty decent force. And then what else we got? First Company, Dreadnoughts maybe some Blade Guard, throw in a few of those new companion models, and that should be a pretty cool elite force, maybe a Land Raider in there too. But yeah, they look really, really cool, so really happy with those. So they're Terminators. Obviously that's not everything in the box though, but we get a load of paper material, so let's have a look at that in a second. So a quick jump cut forward in the shrink wrap out of the way, we can see the paper materials that are included in the box as well. Like I said, you get a full set of data cards, which is really nice. So obviously these are normally available separately as well, but they basically have all your rules on there, which is handy to have for reference on the edge of the table. Obviously we'll look at these in more detail in the Codex to see if anything's changed stat-wise across the army. You also get 2 brand new transfer sheets, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see on the camera here, but there's some really nice metallic ones as well. Some gold and silver. I think the red's also a little bit metallic there as well. So they're very, very nice for customising your army, making them look pretty. Yeah, really, really nice sheet. And you get 2 of these. I presume that when the upgrade kit comes out by itself, you'll be able to buy just like the frame and the transfers, which is pretty cool. I guess it probably will be direct only. But yeah, they're really nice. And the fact that you get 2 of them in the box is really good. You'll be able to transfer up all your stuff in there. We'll look at the Codex in a little bit, but just wanted to shout out, this is really nice too, with some like gold metallic detailing on here, which looks really, really cool. So we'll jump to that in a second. First of all, we'll have a quick look at how the models in the box go together. Like I say, in the grand scheme of things, there's not that many models. There's what, 16 models in the box. And if you built Terminators before, you should know what you're doing here. but it's always worth you know, double checking to make sure that you're following the right thing. And obviously we've got some options on the Deathwing Knights as well. So what I'll be doing is just checking the rules to make sure that there's no, you know, weapon options I want to stick to. If it doesn't matter what you give them, I'm just going to go for rule of cool. I quite like the maces and stuff, so if there isn't any difference in what you arm them with, I'll probably go for those, because A, they look cool, and B, it kind of makes them stand out compared to, you know, some of the other Terminator squads. But I will say they do look nice with the swords as well, so maybe that's a call for getting another squad of them in the army. And then finally the Terminators. Obviously this will be a combination of stuff from the original Terminator sprue, plus these upgrade parts from the Dark Angels upgrade frame. And again, I'll be checking just to see what the weapon options are. I suspect the plasma cannon replaces the assault cannon from the original kit. But there might be call for having a mixture of weapons in your army, so again, you probably want to have a look through the rules just to make sure you're aware of how you want to build those first before you put them together. But yeah, so what we'll do now is have a look at the Codex and see what has changed for the Dark Angels. So let's jump into the new Dark Angels Codex itself, and it is such a nice cover with kind of like metallic gold detailing on it. Really, really like this. Obviously this will be available separately at some time after the release of this box. But yeah, really, really nice looking book. So yeah, this is, if you've seen any of the other 40k codexes, this edition follow a very similar format. We've got a similar layout. Obviously you start off with some lore, go into the showcase. We have the combat patrol rules, which are new in this one. We'll have a look at the combat patrol changing for the Dark Angels. We go through the army rules, all of the data sheets, and then the crusade rules with the points in the back with a little QR code to take you to the latest points on the website. Now, what we'll say on this book, it's the first Codex supplement that we've seen for the edition, and that means to get the full kind of use of it, you also need to pick up the Space Marine Codex as well. Now, I will say if you're just playing Combat Patrol, you don't need that because all the rules are in there, but if you want to make use of all the different units and, you know, some of the options in the Space Marine book, you're going to need that as well as this book for, you know, normal match play games, because this book only contains the rules for the Dark Angel specific stuff. You know, I'm sure people will know that, but anyone new to the hobby might not be aware of that. So yeah, it's worth pointing out. But yeah, as ever, the first part of the book goes through all the lore and background. I've not actually picked up a Dark Angels Codex before. I've read a lot of the older lore, so it's nice kind of catching up with, you know, who the Dark Angels are and the various, like, Inner Circle and the various wings. Obviously this is updated a little bit because we've got all the info about the Primarch, Lonel Johnson, in here and his return. Again, in the recent book that came out when he was released, didn't go too much into, you know, why he was back and what had happened. And again, that's kept as a bit of a mystery in this book, and I think that's probably a good thing, to have some mystery still in the universe. It's no fun if all the, you know, the big secrets are answered straight away, especially in an army like the Dark Angels, where kind of the secrecy and the mystery is kind of their thing. So yeah, don't go into this expecting you'll find all those secrets revealed, because they're not. A lot of it's still left. You know, it gives them room in the future to you know, dig into those plot threads if they need to. But like ever, we get all the kind of write-ups about all the various characters and all the kind of background of the Dark Angels, so that's really fun, as well as some successor chapter schemes too. And we also get a full army showcase as well. So again, this follows the formats of other books. We've got the nice heavy metal artwork in here, including all the new miniatures as well. So Belial's in this box. Asmodai will be coming out when I guess the individual releases are out. Really looking forward to seeing him. And we've got some shots of the companions in here too, which are really, really nice models. I'm looking forward to them coming out. I'm probably going to do a little retinue to travel around with the Primarch. So yeah, really, really cool. And you can see the use of some of the Dark Angel upgrade parts as well in these pages too. In particular the Ravenwing Outrider looks really nice with the extra bits on. The only downside being you only get one of those per upgrade frame, so you get 2 in the box. If you did want to do a full kind of like Ravenwing force, you might want to kind of source a few more of those, because I think it looked really, really cool if you did put that on all of your bikes in your army. And as we'll see later on, for Ravenwing you can make Outriders battle line as well, so you can take as many units of them as you'd like, which would be really cool. So yeah, but before we get into the main army rules, we do get a combat patrol section in here. So if people don't know what combat patrol is, essentially it's a mode of playing for you know, people who may be new to the game or want something to just pick up and play, where they've got a balanced box. They just pick up a combat patrol box, and that is balanced to be kind of used against other combat patrols. And what they've done over this edition, in a few instances, they've brought out new boxes to replace the old ones that we had. I think the old Dark Angel one had a Redemptor Dreadnought in it. I think there was some Hellblasters in it. There wasn't a lot of models in it. The new one on here looks like there's a lot more kind of substance to it. So you get a Captain in Gravis armour, a unit of 10 Intercessors, 5 Hellblasters, and 3 Blade Guard Veterans, which gives you a nice, it feels quite Dark Angels-y. Obviously you've got those first company kind of elements with the Blade Guard Veteran, and you've got the plasma in there for the iconic Dark Angels weapon. So yeah, I think that's a nice little box. Playstyle for the combat patrol is all around kind of killing characters or getting into enemy territory, and there's some nice mechanics in there too, where you've got a chance of kind of getting command points for doing stuff, which is pretty cool. As ever, you get a full painting guide for the combat patrol too, which I think is a really, really nice touch. So yeah, I mentioned earlier that you need the Space Marine book to go alongside this ideally. For combat patrol players, you actually get the Oath of Moment rules in here, and obviously you'll get the profiles for the Intercessors and the Hellblasters and stuff that aren't included in this book, so that's a nice touch too. So we'll quickly just run through them. Again, I know most people tend to play match play, but it's cool that they've got, you know, the combat patrol stuff in there. So onto the Dark Angels proper. Yeah, really, really cool. Now obviously we had the index, and some stuff has been tweaked since then, but not massively so. So when you're building your army, obviously some units can belong to the Ravenwing or the Deathwing, and that will affect some of the stratagems and some of the detachments that you can pick up. Essentially, if you're mounted or you're a vehicle that can fly, you get the Ravenwing keyword. And if you are any of the first company stuff, so Veterans, Blade Guard, Terminators, you get the Deathwing keyword. All Dreadnoughts get it, all Land Raiders get it, and all Repulsors get it as well. So that's, I guess, dead easy way of just differentiating what is in those various wings. Now the initial Unforgiven task force is exactly the same as the one that was in the index, so no changes there. I think one of the stratagems, the names changed a little bit, but all the rules are exactly the same here. So essentially the main gimmick for this one is that if you are battle shocked on an objective, your OC becomes 1 rather than 0, so that's handy. But the main draw are the 2 new detachments. Now I know in other codexes we've had a lot more detachments added. I think because this one is a codex supplement, and obviously you've still got access to those detachments in the core Space Marine book, you only get 2 new ones for the Dark Angels. This is the Deathwing and the Ravenwing essentially. So the Deathwing one's pretty cool. They have something called a vowed target. So in the command phase you can pick an objective marker on the board, and any Deathwing infantry that's within range of that gets +1 to wound. So, sorry, if you target a unit within range of that objective. So it's really good for kind of clearing things off objectives. +1 to wound on a lot of your Terminators as well in melee you're going to be wounded on 2s in a lot of cases, so that's pretty cool. But obviously you're going to have to kind of focus on the points that you're trying to capture, and that really kind of captures the image of these Terminators striking down to kind of do a, I guess, knife to the throat attack, which is pretty fun. We get 4 enhancements. Champion of the Deathwing, it gives you lethal hits, and if you're within range of your vowed objective marker, those trigger on a 5+. Eye of the Unseen, you basically get command points back on a 5+. If you're near your vowed objective, it's 4+. Singular Will, you consolidate an extra 3 inches for the unit that they're with. And Deathwing Assault, when you deep strike, you can do it on the 1st, 2nd or 3rd movement phase. So you can take a big unit of Terminators and drop them down turn 1 if you want to, which is really cool. As for stratagems, Armour of Contempt, same as it always works. Essentially you lessen the AP of incoming attacks. Martial Mastery is 1 CP. Allows you to reroll wounds of 1, and if it's near a vowed objective marker, you reroll all wounds, which is pretty good. Death Unto Duty on a 4+ lets your guys fight on death, which is pretty good. Relic Teleportanium basically lets you use your deep strike within just outside of 3 inches of enemy rather than 9 inches, but you're not allowed to charge. Wrath of the Lion basically does impact hits on the charge in. It's not great. You roll the dice for each unit. On a 4+, you do a mortal wound, so it's a bit swingy. But we can do a couple of mortal wounds to kill off a model that you're charging into. And then Unmatched Fortitude makes a target -1 to wound. So yeah, they're pretty fun. I quite like the Deathwing models as well. So obviously you get about 800 points of Deathwing in the box, so it's a good starting point for building a new Deathwing army, and they seem pretty fun to use. The one I really like though is the Ravenwing, the Company of Hunters. This is all about your bikes or your fast Ravenwing units. The main kind of ability that they get is that your units can shoot if they advance or fall back, and your Outriders get the battle line keyword, so you can take as many bikes as you like, so that's really cool. As for enhancements, you've got Mastercrafted Weapon, which gives the weapon precision. Mounted Strategist allows a unit to charge after falling back or advancing. That's a pretty nice one. Mastery of Maneuver. Basically, the character's unit doesn't count towards the points for strategic reserves, and they can turn up. And it allows you to count the battle rounders being 1 higher than it actually is for the purposes of your strategic reserves as well. So again, that's quite good for getting your units where they need to be earlier on in the game. And then Recon Hunter again gives the bearer's unit a 9-inch scout move as well. So lots of ways of getting around the battlefield fast with these. On to the stratagems. Hunter's Trail. Basically sticky objectives, so if you tag an objective you can move off and you still control it. They have Armour of Contempt as per the Deathwing. Talon Strike is basically if you're attacking a character, you get +1 to the wound roll, so easier to kill characters. Death on the Wind makes battle shock harder if an enemy unit's nearby your Ravenwing units. High Speed Focus, it's a bit of a jink really. -1 to hit for your opponent on your unit, and then Rapid Reappraisal allows you to put a unit back into strategic reserves as well. So there's some really fun stuff there. It's a shame there's no new Ravenwing models, but I'd quite like to put together a Ravenwing force because I think they're going to be really fun to use. So moving on to the data sheets, and for a lot of the stuff in here there's not really been any changes for the existing models. Stuff with new models has had some small tweaks and changes that we'll see, and you know there are some bits that we'll need to talk about on those, but for the most part if it hasn't got a new model the rules are exactly the same as they were. In the index some of the stuff has been removed from here as well. So previously the Deathwing Terminator kit could build like a command squad and a few kind of characters. They're all removed from the book, and the, I forget what it's called, the jet bike Talon Master, that is removed from here as well. I think that was the old jet bike with a metal upgrade kit. That doesn't exist in the book either, so they're probably now legends. All the old Ravenwing kits, so the plastic ones, they're all still in here, and they haven't had any changes rules wise as well, so it is really only the new stuff that's seen some amendments. Speaking of new stuff, we do get the Inner Circle Companions. They're a brand new unit. You can take between 3 and 6 of them in a squad, and they're pretty cool. They are kind of like anti-character assassins and bodyguards all rolled in one. They get +1 to hit characters, which means they'll be hitting on 2s, which is pretty cool. And if there is a character attached to their unit, they're -1 to hit as well. So nice little kind of defensive unit doing that. They have got a 3+ save and 3 wounds each, so they're not quite as kind of hardy as the rest of the Deathwing stuff, but they do interestingly have the Deathwing keyword, so they will get the benefits of stuff if you do take the Deathwing detachment. They've got a fun weapon. For attacks you can choose to do a strike, which gives it lethal hits and damage 2, or you can sweep it for sustained hits 2 and only damage 1. So it's whether you want to go for, I guess, lots of hits, or try and kind of break the armour of something with those lethal hits. So yeah, they seem pretty fun. The kits will be out when the Codex is available separately. Asmodai gets a brand new model in here, and his profile has been changed a little bit as well. He's now got his weapons are kind of been consolidated, and now can pick to strike or sweep as well. So he can hit with 5 attacks, strength 6, AP -2, 2 damage, or 8 attacks, strength 5, AP -2, 1 damage. So a little bit of a tweak for him. Belial's been changed a little bit. His Strike of Retribution now only triggers on a 4+, when it used to be a 2+. So it used to hit a bit more regularly. Now that's been toned down a little bit. Other than that, rules wise, he's pretty much the same. One thing to note, all of the characters apart from Samael do have the Deathwing keyword as well, so you can include them in the detachment, which is pretty cool. Obviously you're going to be, there's lots of non-Terminator stuff that you can attach them to, so that means that you could take, a Deathwing army but have a unit of companions or a unit of Blade Guard in there, and it's all still first company and looks cool, but it means that you've got a bit more options for your characters, which is nice, and they get the benefits of the detachment. Deathwing Terminator squads have been changed. They are now more in line with the standard Terminators in kind of how the weapon options work, so anything that's available on that new plastic Terminator kit, or the plasma cannon from the upgrade frame can be taken, so thunder hammers and things are a no-no. It's just the basic weapon options. They get the teleport homer that the new Terminators have got, and again with the Deathwing rule, they get to ignore modifiers, and when they're attacking an oath at the moment, they get +1 to hit, which is pretty cool. They also have a Watcher in the Dark in the unit as well, which basically allows them to have Feel No Pain 4+ once per game. So that's pretty cool. Obviously if you're going Deathwing, you're probably going to have a lot of these guys in your army. Deathwing Knights have changed quite a lot as well. They get a teleport homer as well, so they can teleport in just like the Terminators do, using that little token as a focus point for them to come down, and they still have the Watcher in the Dark too for the Feel No Pain. They've now got a new weapon option. Previously they just had the Mace of Absolution, but they can take power weapons instead. Now the Mace isn't as good as it used to be. It used to be damage 3, it's now only damage 2, and the power weapon gives you an extra attack, an extra point of AP, but only 1 damage. So really, you can tool these guys up for, I guess, hitting at lower AP or more damage, or more attacks at higher AP, but less damage. So I've opted to build mine with the power weapons because they look really cool. I think there's probably scope for having a unit of each in your army. They're quite expensive though. Off the top of my head, they're about 290 points, so they have gone up quite a bit compared to their old incarnation. But you know, they're really good. They've got 4 wounds each, 2+ save, 4+ invulnerable save. They still reduce the damage by 1, so you're going to need to do a lot of damage to take them down. And obviously you've got that once per game Feel No Pain too. These guys are really cool, and I think a couple of units of these within a Deathwing army, they'd be really, really nice. And then, like I say, the rest of the book is returning kits that have got the same rules as the index, so no massive changes there. I wasn't sure if any of this would get tweaked, but outside of like keywords and stuff, there's not really any changes. It's just those units with new plastic kits have had some tweaks here or there, and on the whole, I think it's pretty good. I think they'd be fun to use, and I'm looking forward to putting together both a Deathwing and a Ravenwing force. Finally, we get some Crusade rules, and as ever, this is really nice and thematic. Here at Sprues and Brews, kind of Crusade and Path to Glory are our favourite ways of playing the game. I think that kind of continuing narrative is more fun to us personally than kind of top tier tournament play. And when Crusade really captures the feeling of the army, that's when I think they've done a great job at it. In this one, they've got what's called Oathsworn campaigns, and this basically represents your general slowly digging into the secrets of the Dark Angels, and eventually, after kind of campaigning through all this, getting into the inner circle. So there's like special kind of campaigns that you can go on with, you know, their own requisitions and bonus agendas. And the way it works is that you'll play through one of these and complete kind of that campaign. Then you'll play through another one, and as you're starting to find a little bit more about the secrets and unlocking more things to do, until eventually you learn about the Fallen and you can start trying to piece together the mystery. So that unlocks this a trail and covered mission. So this basically gives you a kind of a one-off game where you're getting kind of points for killing the Warlord, killing enemy characters, making enemy units, taking battle shock tests, trying to end the game in the opponent's deployment zone. If you manage to complete that, awesome, you've ticked it off, and then you basically have to do one of these campaigns and one of these campaigns again until you unlock the next mission. The next mission basically represents you then trying to hunt down where the Fallen is. So you're trying to get units in different quarters of the board by the end of the game to try and find these clues about where they are. Again, if you complete it, you then have to complete another Oathsworn campaign, another For the Line campaign. I will say the second one, the For the Line, you can sub it out for just standard Crusade missions if you want to, but the main thing is that you've got to do at least one of the first ones and then another one before you get to continue with the Hunt the Fallen campaign. And then eventually, this is a really cool bit, you've found the Fallen and you've got to try and kill them. And what it encourages you to do is convert up a model to represent the Fallen, and then you give that to your opponent. They then use the stat line of a Heretic Astartes character, have it as part of their army in addition to the other stuff they've got, and your objective is to try and kill that character. I think that's really, really fun. If you fail any of these steps, basically you're back to step 1, and you've got to do the kind of required missions and fight the way through it. So it's quite a long, drawn out kind of campaign, but I really like that it culminates in this kind of hunting the Fallen. And there's some of the older codexes, like editions ago, there's lots of this where you'd bring a model and that would represent something cool for you to do against that enemy army, and this kind of captures the feeling of that. So really, really like that. What's also cool as well is over your campaign, if you accrue enough kind of honour points, you can opt to basically grant your character master status of either the Deathwing, the Ravenwing, the Unseen Ritual, which is the 5th company, or the Master of the Watchers, which is the 7th company. And again, that's really cool as well, this kind of storyline of your guy starting out and then slowly advancing into the inner circle. I think that's really, really fun little touch that they've done in this book. As ever, you get all your kind of like unique agendas and requisitions, along with kind of battle traits and relics and stuff that you can get, including the ridiculously cool Monster Slayer of Caliban, which is a anti-monster, anti-vehicle sword with 7 attacks, strength 6, hits on 2s, AP 2 and 2 damage. Really, really cool, and kind of captures the vibe of the Dark Angels. And again, like with previous books, we get some little achievements to unlock as you're kind of going through it as well. So finally on the back we see the points cost. Like I said, the Deathwing Knights are 290 points, so they are quite expensive, but they are a nice hardy unit. There's been a few points tweaks. I think the Lion's slightly cheaper than it used to be. Deathwing Terminators I think are marginally cheaper than they used to be. And the new Inner Circle Companions are 105 points for 3, or you can take them in a unit of 6. So yeah, really cool book. I like this. Before we go into my final thoughts, I just want to show some of the miniatures out of the box as well. The first one I wanted to work on was Belial. So he was by far my favourite model, and wanted to get him done for the video, and it is a really, really nice kit. I really enjoy painting this guy up, and can't wait to paint some more Deathwing. I painted the Lion last year when he was released, and really enjoyed doing that. And this, I guess, kind of has a lot of the same principles and colours. I followed Duncan Rhodes' scheme for painting Deathwing Terminators for this one, using 2 thin coats paint. So if you do want to kind of copy that, head to the Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy, because it's a really good guide on how to kind of get this kind of like bone colour in the greens and stuff. So yeah, he was really cool. I've built up a couple of the new Terminators just to show how the parts from the upgrade frame look. So if you see on this one, obviously we've got the plasma cannon, which is unique to that. We've also got the shoulder pad with the embossed Dark Angels kind of emblem. There are a lot of like hooded heads and stuff, but I kind of preferred the classic Terminator look for these. I didn't opt for that. We've also got this guy here who has one of the alternate power swords off that frame. And again, we've got the tilting plate and the shoulder pad, and the Stormbolter as well is off that frame as well. So you get quite a few optional parts. I think even the upper body on this one's from that too. So yeah, there's lots of stuff on there, and there'll be lots of spare stuff as well. If you've got another box of Terminators, you can probably, you know, outfit 3 units using it, especially if you have different weapon options and not the plasma cannon. So yeah, they're cool. I've also built up the new Deathwing Knights as well. These are next on my painting desk after Belial, and they're really nice models. So I opted to use the swords. My logic being, I'm probably going to have a unit with swords and a unit with maces, and a unit with swords give classic like Terminator heads, just because I think they look cool. And then the unit with maces I'll have with the kind of like cowled Dark Angels heads, because I think it suits the kind of maces more. But yeah, there's quite a few nice sculpts in here, and quite a few kind of options to customise them. Again, you've got different tilting shields, you've got different heads, a few different poses for the weapons, and again, for all of these you've got the option of giving them the mace as well, which really does kind of like mix up what the unit looks like. So yeah, really nice models these, and I'm looking forward to painting these up. The good thing with the Deathwing army is that you don't really need that many models. You know, maybe a couple more boxes of Terminators, throw in some Land Raiders and you know, Dreadnoughts and the like, and you're sorted. There's the Watcher as well from the Knights kit, which is really nice, and then they also get a Teleport Homer too. So yeah, really impressed with the Deathwing Assault box. It's a really cool set. I'm a big fan of these boxes they bring out with the Codex and some miniatures. I think the cost of just the Terminators alone is close to the price. I can't remember if I said at the start of the video, but it's £135 the box. So considering a box of Terminators is 40 quid, you're looking at nearly that with just the 2 units of Terminators and the Deathwing Knights. So you're basically getting the book and the cards and Belial free on top of that, which is pretty good. So yeah, really fun book. I'm looking forward to doing some battle reports with him as well. We are planning on doing some Crusade content on the website over the year, so if we get these guys painted up, hopefully they'll be part of that too, which will be really fun. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give the video a like and give us a follow. It really helps to kind of like boost the site and get the algorithm rolling. If you would like to support us as well, I do have a link to Element Games in the description. Anything that you buy through that link, we get a little bit of a kickback, which goes towards helping run the site and paying all the kind of like hosting costs and stuff. But yeah, until next time, have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.